What's up, everybody? I took the day off, and so I'm sitting trying to relax, do some work, get some content put out, and I kind of been chewing on this thought. For the last year, I've been chewing on NateLejeune.com and trying to work on the release and content and figure out exactly what I want this to be about. There are a ton of great motivational speakers out there, people way more talented and gifted than I am. There are tons of people who have mind-blowing content, things, ideas, thoughts that are really pretty astonishing and that just take you back and really go, wow, like that was such a great thought. I'm just your typical average guy. And so I didn't want to just be another person putting out a ton of motivational stuff, maybe putting out a ton of Christianity stuff. I've got lots of connections, lots of friends who aren't Christians, who don't hold together the same beliefs or value system. And I really started to chew on what do I want NateLejeune.com to be about. And so I did. I took a little bit of a pause. It was going to release earlier in 2019, and I decided, let's just pause and wait. And so I did. I separated myself for 3 months from social media, from putting out content, from working on things, and just took a pause to make sure that I understood exactly what I wanted this to be about and make sure that my relationship with Jesus was extremely close and tight, because ultimately it's my relationship with Jesus that leads and guides all the content that I put out, that leads and guides the person that I am, that leads and guides the friend, the father, the husband that I want to be. And so after that pause, I began to put the site together, and I really was like, what is this going to be about? What is the thing that will keep people to come back? What can I help? And you just go back to the book of Acts. And again, I know I've got a lot of friends here who aren't going to be Christians, and so that's fair, but I invite you to still come along this journey with me, because whether you're a Christian or not, the principles of God still work, in my opinion. Gravity works. Whether you believe in it or not is completely up to you, but if you jump off of a bridge, if you jump off of a roof, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to break something, right? Because gravity is a principle that works, and I believe that there are principles of God that just work. And there are a lot of principles in there that I think have gotten lost in the filters of religion and the many, many, many different types of religions that are out there, man-made traditions and rules that have been placed there for good reasons, but somehow, some way, things are lost in translation, I should say. As you can see, this is going to be totally uncut, unfiltered. This is just me talking. And so I really started to chew on things, and then I began a couple of different studies. And I started in the book of Galatians, but before I could get there, I want to start where it all begins, in the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, we find that the first church, the first non-religion, but just like gathering of people that all had one focus and one sense of direction for their lives. And what we find them doing is super interesting, right? We find them in the book of Acts chapter 2 selling all of their possessions, all of their belongings, and piling them up in a big pile. And everyone who was a part of that community, anyone who had any need at all, could go into that pile and could take what they needed. I'm in no means saying that we should all sell our homes and leave our jobs and all go live in a covenant somewhere, but I am saying that there's some principles there that still apply here in 2019, 20, 21, and forever, and that is the sharing of resources, of expertise, of knowledge, of stories, of experiences with other people around us that we're connected to. And so whether you're Christian or not, it really has no implications on me. I don't really care about that. That ultimately is your own journey, and I do hope that somewhere, somehow, that I can share that journey with you, and I can walk that journey out with you as you figure out your own spirituality and your own kind of journey in that relationship, or maybe even not in that relationship. But ultimately, this whole website, this whole thing that I'm doing is the sharing, the imparting of my experiences, my story of growing up in a single mother home in government housing, going to schools where I actually was the minority, of being, what we would call nowadays bullying, but back then was just, growing up, and my experience of where sports mattered to me, and how sports impacted me. And sports is such a big area that I think so many churches, honestly, are missing a great opportunity to impact their cities and the world around them in a very positive way. Even to my experiences of 7 years ago, in 2014 or so, of coming here to New Orleans, of quitting my dream job, of what I got to do every day, of working with young people, selling my home and packing up my family of 4 in a U-Haul and moving here to start a brand new life and a brand new journey, and what that has meant for our faith, for our relationships, for our connections, and what that has meant and what God has shown of himself to us through those last 7 years and still going. And so that's what this is all going to be about. So I began a study a few weeks ago on the book of Galatians, and you're going to see some posts come out over the next few weeks as I kind of dive deep into that. One of the reasons that I started that study is I wanted to see what was the first letter to the first church. The church is established in the book of Acts. We've seen what those people did, the sharing of resources, the connecting with each other. But then what happened after that? What was the first letter from a pastor, a mentor, a connector to the people that he connected with the message of Jesus with? What was he telling to them? What was he talking to them about? What was his filter? What was the things that he wanted to approach? And I found that this one phrase continued to come out from God, and that was tangible Christianity. And that's what this whole website has become about. It's become about just being real, being simple, and sharing simple, real principles that as Christians we should be showing and helping others around us experience. And if you're not Christian, these are things that you should expect to experience from people who do connect and relate and identify with a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to share a bunch of blog posts and deep dives as we look at the really simple, powerful words of Paul to the church of Galatia, and the simple principles that I think are so real, simple, tangible, and apply still here today. So welcome to the site. Thanks for checking me out today. This is going to release here really, really soon. If you're here brand new at the first release of this site, then you're probably a friend. You're probably a family member. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for your support. It means a ton. Even if you're just watching this and listening and looking at this just for the sake of supporting me, I appreciate it. I hope that you continue to come back. I hope that you find something that is truly useful for you. Or if you're others that maybe I don't have a relationship with, we're probably connected because of my youth work that I used to do and still do today through either the church that I used to be, or the churches that I used to be a part of, or the organization that I used to be a part of. And I appreciate you. Thank you for coming here. I truly have a heart for young people, for that 16 to 25-year-old who is trying to figure out life and Christianity. And I want to share and impart real principles, real expertise so that you experience the best relationships that you possibly can have in your life. And then last, you may just be here because you're connected through my professional life, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you checking out my website, and I know that maybe some of my Christianity things don't quite relate to you, and maybe I seem a little old-fashioned or Southern or whatever other word we may want to put on it, but I do hope that you stay, because I believe that these principles still apply to our regular, everyday lives. Because ultimately, I believe that that's what Jesus came for, so that we can have a real relationship with him that affects our daily relationships. And so whether you're applying this to business, to colleagues, to work, to your professional life, or just to your life with your husband or mate, even without the filters of Christianity or religion, I think that they still work. And I hope that you still find something that speaks to you and that you relate to. And your spiritual journey is something that I hope that you continue to walk through. So I invite you to stay. I invite you to continue to chew on these posts with me, and leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Let me hear what you're thinking, what speaks to you, what maybe you still chewing on that we can chew on together. And then last, I've kind of made the decision that our community that we're a part of hosts service during the week, and I'm a big believer in self-care, and you're going to hear that come out a lot in my posts and my videos. And I believe that in 2019 and probably on, we live in a world where people are working 6 and 7 days a week. some poor people are working, 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And then in America, we've created this movement where Sunday is our day that we separate, right? It's our day that we separate for God. And I think even that initial meaning has been lost. Originally, that was because that was the first work day, and people were separating that day to honor God and showing that, hey, I'm going to honor you by not working on the first day where I could go and make money, and instead I'm going to go and spend it in worship. And that has changed, right? Sunday isn't usually the first work day any longer. And my filter, my reasoning behind this is that we create the place where usually Sundays people do have off. Here in the South, football is important, sports are important, and people love to gather over those things, but yet we keep them in church for 3, 4, 5, 6 services, serving and attending church. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, so to speak, but it does make self-care and real relationships very difficult to build, because those don't get built over a lunch after a service, when people have to go take a nap and get their families ready to come back to service that night. And so we don't have service on Sundays. We truly set that away as a Sabbath and allow people to connect with their friends and family members, neighbors, invite them over to watch a game or eat a meal or some type of connection that is real and tangible. And so because of that, I also know that a lot of my connections do have service on Sundays. And so what I've just kind of decided is that every Sunday morning I'll release a short video that maybe you can turn on while you're getting ready for church and while you're kind of getting your hair did and your dress is all nice and your suit all nice and ironed. Maybe you can plop this on and listen to some of the thoughts that I have going on, and maybe it'll get you to thinking, and maybe we can share some thoughts back and forth that will help all of us get deeper, better relationships. So every Sunday, I'll release a video, something that maybe you can turn on and have just playing while you get ready before your service. But I do appreciate you being here and visiting and supporting the content that I'm putting out. I'm not really interested in creating a bunch of content that is like the other hundreds of really great motivational speakers, because if you're looking for somebody more talented and gifted and energetic, there's probably a whole lot more better people out there. But I do feel like I'm an expert in relationships, and I'm going to share that expertise with you so that you can experience the best relationships. Because when you truly experience that, when you truly experience deep connection, which we were all wired for, which we were created to have, when you experience that, there is a fulfillment in your life, a drive to experience purpose that cannot be measured. It cannot be scaled up. It is something that each and every one of us should experience. And I've had a great opportunity to experience that in a lot of different ways with a lot of really amazing people. And I'm inviting you to come and do the same thing. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks for checking out my site. Leave your comments, your questions, like the video, subscribe, share with your friends. Do anything that you really feel like you want to do to share some of these resources, and keep coming back. God bless you.